Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, I will be giving you guys my predictions for UFC Fight Night, De Ridder versus Allen, going down in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, this upcoming weekend, October 18th. I will not be in attendance for this show because Vancouver is a very smelly city, but does not mean I'm not excited for some of these fights here because they got a lot of my heroes on this card here. It is my turn to be the casual to some of these fucking Canadian heroes of mine on this card here. Like Zahabi, you know what I mean, bro? That's my guy. So let's get into this. Predictions here, starting with the early prelims. Melissa Croden versus Tainara Lisboa. I'm going to go with Lisboa on this. I think Lisboa is a decent kickboxer. She has fought in, people like Valentina Shevchenko in that sport. I think she has decent wins over okay opponents, whereas Melissa Croden kind of fought some local jobbers, really. Nothing really seemed too impressive to me. So I'm going to go with Tainara Lisboa to win this fight. Up next, though, is a fight I am actually quite excited for. It's Azamat Bekoev versus Yusuri Belgaroui, who is also a kickboxer, has kickboxing experience, but I am going to go with Azamat Bekoev to win this fight. I think he has some pretty impressive wins. He is the heavy favorite in this fight, and he has a power advantage and will mix in takedowns rather well. And, Belgaroui does have the kickboxing experience and a size advantage, so I don't think he's going to get finished in this, but I think Bekoev has the actual all-around skills necessary to come away with a win here, probably by decision, if anything. That's what I'm going to go with here, honestly. Because, yeah, dude, fucking 5 inches taller and a 7-inch reach advantage. I will be very shocked if, even in the grappling department, he can get a finish in this fight. But still, I'm going to go with Bekoev here. I think he pretty easily wins this. Up next is Stephanie Luciano versus Ravena Oliveira. Okay, so Luciano is younger. Luciano is slightly bigger. And she has more experience in the UFC. I'm gonna go with Luciano to win this fight. I think Luciano will win this probably. I think she'll probably win this. Yeah. Up next, though, this is fucking interesting. We have Kyle Prepolec versus Drew Dober. Oh man, I feel like Drew Dober should not be a minus 480 favorite in this fight here. I know, Prepolec didn't look terrible in his loss to BSD, even though he did get finished. He was able to survive for a good bit of time from the pressure that BSD was applying, and he shot a takedown, I believe, in the second round. So, oh yeah, he defended takedown. Sorry, I have it written in my notes here. And then Drew Dober might be a bit washed. I think I'm really debating how badly his chin is these days. It's kind of hard to tell with an aging fighter like this, but still, I think I'm gonna go with Drew Dober to win this fight. I just think the pressure that Dober will apply here is gonna be too much for Prepolec. I don't think he's really that experienced in that kind of stuff. I don't think Prepolec's going to be prepared for the kind of pressure that Drew Dober is going to be applying here in this fight. I think the shots that Dober will land will be more just damaging. I don't think Prepolec will have a lot of answers for Dober. I don't think he's going to be he will defend the takedowns probably, but I think it might result in a lot of clinching against the fence here. So I'm going to go with Drew Dober to win this fight. I don't say this lightly because I do definitely see Kyle Prepolec fluking a KO over Drew Dober for sure. That does worry me. That is a concern of mine. Up next, though, Danny Barlow versus Jourdain Santos. Dude, I got Danny Barlow all the way in this one, bro. I think Danny Barlow fucking massacres this guy, dude. I think Barlow is more athletic and skillful, and I think he can be more aggressive and quick in this fight. Neither guy is particularly flashy, honestly, but I think the lack of experience will impact Santos to the point that he will not have a lot of answers for Danny Barlow. I'm going to pick him to win this. I love that fucking nickname, bro. Left-handed God. That's some deep shit right there, dude. I like that shit. I'm going to pick Danny Barlow to win this fight, though. Up next, Bruno Silva versus Hyun-sung Park. I'm gonna go with Hyun-sung Park to win this fight. I have here my notes that I wrote Bruno Silva's wash. Now that I think about it a bit more, I don't really think he's that. I think he's just one of those guys that will always lose to, serious talents in the flyweight division. So with that being said, I'm going to go with, like that being said, I think he's still a bit slow. I think he's obviously a bit chinny. And I just think Park is one of those better prospects, who has really good striking, has really good grappling. He's going to apply all that to this fight, and he's going to come in with a win against Bruno Silva here. So I'm going to go with Hyun-sung Park to win this fight. I like my chances with that. Up next, dude. Oh, fuck, man. Why did they have to book this fight? Why did Charles Jourdain have to agree to this, man? Why did he have to make this tough on me? Charles Jourdain versus Davy Grant. I'm going to have to go Davy Grant, man. I'm upset by that, though. I think, Grant is tough. He can keep fights competitive. He's well-rounded with some powerful hands and has good wrestling defense and a high fight IQ. I just think he'll have the bigger shots throughout this entire fight, man. Davy Grant's just one of those guys that are like, those are the old heads' like favorite fighter these days. When Jim Miller or Matt Brown, like that kind of category of fighter, I think Davy Grant fits in there real well. Still though, I think Jourdain has some good jiu-jitsu and he's a good range fighter, but I think his grappling comes more from like a defensive perspective where he just kind of uses it as like it's something he keeps in his back pocket when he really needs to like worry about a guy who's going to wrestle him a lot. And I think throughout this fight he will be spamming kicks to try to keep Davy Grant away, and I think he has a slight size advantage on him, but yeah, I think Davy Grant's going to kind of just truck through everything that Jourdain throws at him. I don't see Jourdain himself taking it to the ground. I think this fight's going to stay standing, and I think Davy Grant's going to get away with the bigger shots here throughout this fight. I hate to say that, man, because come on, like Charles Jourdain, I want to see this guy succeed, bro. I need to see him succeed. So, still though, I think Davy Grant's going to win this, unfortunately so. Up next as well, man, Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frevola. Fuck, man. This one's tough. This is tough. Both guys are being fucking knocked out left and right. These guys have multiple concussions under their belts of themselves. Frevola has a weak chin, dude. But I just think the wrestling's going to come in real handy for Frevola this fight. I don't see how Nelson is able to like defend the takedowns or, defend the grappling. I think Nelson's best opportunity to win this fight will be like a counter strike from like, an in the clinch exchange or in the pocket. I just don't see, but other than that, if he doesn't get that, I think Frevola will take over with his superior grappling skills. And even then still, when they're just standing and striking, I still think Frevola's a very dangerous fighter. He's more powerful, and he does have the worst chin of the two. But I think he is overall the better fighter. I think if Frevola was to lose this fight, it would be by like kind of a fluky, like, caught him in an exchange where he wasn't prepared for it. But I'm going to pick Matt Frevola to win this fight. Again, unfortunately so. They did not do the Canadians very, very nicely on this card. I don't know why, like, you compare it to like the fucking Aussie card where like they just get all the Australian fighters get fed like fucking cans, dude. We have to fight fucking Matt Frevola and Davy Grant, bro. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. This is fucked up, bro. Up next, though, Cody Gibson versus Oh, I'm going to fucking butcher the shit out of this. Qileng. I think that's how you pronounce it. Qileng. Unfortunately for Qileng, he has very poor grappling skills. He is crafty and has some experience under his belt, but I think he just is less skillful than Cody Gibson. I think Cody Gibson will apply pressure. He will get takedowns. He has some decent striking in the pocket, which he will utilize, and he will mix in the grappling, which again, Qileng has no answers for. So I'm going to pick Cody Gibson to win this fight. I think this is pretty cut and dry. I think this is a pretty easy one to make, even despite the odds being so close. I think it's pretty easy to say that Cody Gibson will win this fight. Ooh, dude. This is fucking crazy, man. Manon Fiorot versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. I really want Jasmine to win this. Really, really badly. I just hate how, like, in the women's division, we never know if you're, like, actually, like, that good. Like, if you're that talented until you're, like, one fight away from a title shot and you have to face someone like Manon Fiorot. Because who was Jasmine's last opponent? I can't even remember their names. It was Jessica Andrade. That was she's so washed, though, man. Like, Mario Bueno Silva was never that good. Jessica Andrade is super, super washed. Lost to Tracy Cortez and Natalia Silva. These are really good wins. Fuck, man. I think Fiorot's but of that caliber, though. You know, I just think that Fiorot has a good takedown defense, which is usually how Jasudavicius gets her wins. But she can also land takedowns herself. I think she has some very powerful kickboxing skills, and she's more well-rounded and will be controlling the fight. And, you know, JJ, I think, can defend the takedowns. I think she will, and, you know, she will be scrappy on the feet. I think, like, the scrambles that they'll get into will be very entertaining. But I just worry about the pressure that will be applied to her by Manon Fiorot. I don't think she's going to be able to, like, have an answer for that, really. I think she's going to be backed up against the cage a lot and, you know, just shooting kind of bad takedowns that, Fiorot will be defending a lot and just trying to egg Fiorot into something like just a bad scramble for Fiorot, so where she can just capitalize on. But I don't think she's actually gonna be able to find that, because I think Fiorot has a very good fight IQ and is not gonna be able to be, like, you know, led into that kind of position, be trapped into that kind of position. So I'm gonna go with Manon Fiorot to win this fight. I so desperately want Jasmine Jasudavicius to win this fight, though. I really, really hope she wins this, man. We need a new year. Like, we need someone to bring the belt home. Belt's been gone for too fucking long, man. We need someone to bring the belt home. Up next, Marlon Vera versus Ayman Zahabi. Zahabi. This is such a fucking funny fight to make, dude. Why would you book this? You're actually, like, this is such an evil fight to book. I'm going to go with Ayman Zahabi to win this. I think really just whoever you think wins this depends on, like, your thoughts on the Jose Aldo win that Zahabi has. Me personally, he was, like, dominating for, like, the majority of the fight before he got, like, caught and kind of scared for, like, a minute of the fight. And then people will look at that being, like, saying, you know, like, oh, well, that guy, you know, you nearly lost to Jose Aldo in 2025. What dog shit. But, like, he was dominating for, like, the majority of the fight. I don't think he has the power that Chito Vera has, but I think he's more well-rounded, and I think he'll be able to land takedowns. Chito, the thing about Chito is, right, he is more proven. He is quicker, hypothetically. He is the better boxer. He has more finishing ability. He has an iron chin. But he just has zero grappling defense, you know. If you're able to take this guy down, it's like Chris Gutierrez, where he just has zero answers for him, where you just lay there and he's just gonna fucking, like, just hit you here a lot, you know. I just think he's gonna take this fight. He's gonna fight this, like, super safely, standing at range, just trying to establish a jab, kicks, and maybe a good body shot every once in a while, like he kind of did in the Pedro Munoz fight. But I just think Zahabi will have the pressure. I don't think it's gonna be a very flashy fight at all. But I think that's the only way Marlon Vera wins this. I think Zahabi will be, you know, he'll be pressuring, he'll be putting him up against the cage, he'll be shooting the takedowns that'll be clinched up against the cage, he'll just be in that fucking position. Vera will try to maintain wrist control and try to push him off, and that he either trips to that or, like, you know, actually is able to skid out of it, but I don't think he's going to have anything to come back with on the feet. I just think Vera is actually going to be very, you know, hesitant to really throw with Ayman Zahabi, which I think is a mistake from him. And I think Zahabi's corner realized that, because, again, he is a very good coach, man. He is GSP's coach. I think they have a very good game plan going into this. I know what they're up against here, and I don't think Vera's going to be able to. Vera's going to be playing a lot of pressure in the striking game. I think he's going to be very intimidated by Ayman Zahabi. I think he's going to be pressed up against the cage, you know, going for takedowns. Maybe Zahabi has some good combinations up against the cage as well. I don't really expect much out of his striking game either. But with that being said, I'm going to pick Ayman Zahabi to win this fight. I think he's going to be more controlling over the fight overall. That was a bad voice crack. We're just going to move on from that. Up next, Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott. It literally doesn't even matter what I say about this fight, because I'm going to be wrong. I'm literally gonna be wrong about whatever I say. Like, literally, either of these two guys could just win immediately. Like, every single outcome, like on the betting lines, whatever it is, every single outcome should just be dead even. Because literally anything could happen in this fight. Literally anything. Actually, you know what? Hold on. This gives me an idea for how I'm gonna pick this. Okay. Heads for Kevin Holland. Tails for Mike Malott. Let's see. I will be picking Mike Malott to win this fight. I think that Malott is very technically sound. I think he's quicker. I think he'll utilize the kicks really well. I think his striking game has really improved. I think he's improved a lot overall since the Jeff Neal fight. I think a lot of people still kind of hold that above his head. But we've seen how Jeff Neal is able to perform in these kind of like, you know, these comeback wins all the time now. And I think Malott has improved a lot. He's learned a lot from that fight. His striking has improved. His cardio has improved. I think he still always had amazing wrestling ability. So I think he will be able to utilize that and try to hopefully maintain control of this fight. Kevin Holland does have the size and physicality advantage, which I think is actually a very big bonus for Kevin Holland. And that is that's like the last resort, man, right? People were talking about how, you know, welterweight Kevin Holland was like the better Kevin Holland, and you know he doesn't usually lose a welterweight unless it's to really, really, really good guys. But then you know he lost to fucking Daniel Rodriguez, and people were like, oh, okay, well he doesn't lose to like bigger welterweight guys. He loses to, like the smaller guys, and he is bigger than Mike Malott here. So people kind of think that maybe that size advantage will give him a very big advantage in this fight. And I do think also his jiu-jitsu is very good. I could see him tanking a lot of Malott's strikes and then just try to take over in the later rounds and then in the grappling department as well. But I don't know, man. I think Malott has the advantage on the ground, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people in the striking. I think this is where his striking really comes to shine over like Kevin Holland. I don't think Kevin Holland just really has it anymore. Truly, I really don't think that. I really don't think he has it anymore. I think he's 28-14. He's fought so many times. What's that word for like, what's that phrase for when like you've traveled a lot and you're just like you're tired basically? Like I don't know what it is, but like he's just at that point, man, where you've reached, what is that? That's 42 fights compared to like 15. I just don't think he has it anymore. And I think all that experience hasn't really accumulated into anything. And I just think Malott's gonna surprise people on the feet. He's gonna utilize his kicks. He's gonna be quicker to the strikes, quicker to the punch. He's gonna surprise Kevin Holland in a lot of ways. And I think even on the ground, you know, if he doesn't get caught, it will be a very interesting grappling exchange. So I will give him that. I think the grappling exchange will be very, very fun to watch. But still, I'm gonna give it to Mike Malott to ultimately win this fight. However way, it could be fucking first round KO. It could be fucking split decision. You know, like it could be literally any way that he wins this fight. But that's what I'm gonna predict. I would not bet on this fight at all. I wouldn't touch any single prop on this bet at all. So you want betting advice? That's my betting advice. Don't even touch this fight. However, we have reached the main event. Rainier de Ridder fighting Brendan Allen. Originally supposed to fight Anthony Hernandez. He had to pull out pretty early. Brendan Allen has a pretty decent training camp going into this. I do like Brendan Allen. People seem to like kind of think of him as like a middleweight BSD where he has all the tools, but he just hasn't been able to put it all together. But for some reason, people give him a lot more leeway than they did BSD, but that's a video for another time. That being said, I'm going to pick RDR to win this fight here. I think Rainier de Ridder has the cardio advantage. I think he has a better fight IQ. Allen has some really good scrambles within him. He is a very scrambly fighter, and I think he could maybe land takedowns and then maybe out-wrestle him early on. Here's how I think the fight's going to go down, right? I think Brendan Allen will start strong. I think he's going to surprise de Ridder on the feet. He's going to outbox him for a little bit until, you know, he's put him up against the cage or, you know, he clinches, which kind of like something we saw in the Robert Whittaker fight. And then I think Brendan will secure the takedown and will have a little bit of control before de Ridder ultimately reverses it because RDR's grappling is fucking elite. I think Ridder will pressure with the jab in round 2. I think he'll be throwing the knees when he's clinched up on the feet. The close striking exchange will turn more into Ritter's favor. It will be close though. I think it will be close on the feet in round 2, but I think De Ridder will ultimately look better, blend the more damaging shots. And then I think in round 3, Allen will get desperate, and the cardio will catch up to him, and then I think he'll fold either 2 strikes, or he'll get takedown and submitted. That's how I think Reinier De Ridder wins this fight. Brendan Allen kind of needs to win this like early if he's going to win this, in my opinion. I think he really needs to come in with like a very big high fight IQ combo, like a spinning back elbow or something. That seems to be all the rage these days. But ultimately, I do think Reinier De Ridder will walk away with a win here. This should be exciting, though. This entire card is really, really, really good, man. Those are my predictions, though. I think, yeah. This is a fucking awesome card. I am very excited for this, man. The prelim fights are cool. Even the early prelim fights, Azamat Bekoev, I'm super excited to see. Oh! I'll tell you guys my locks, actually. So you can build the most amazing parlay, since my last list of locks actually won in a parlay. All of them won. So I'm going to go with Tainara Lisboa, Azamat Bekoev, Danny Barlow, Cody Gibson, and then I'm going to go with Reinier De Ridder. Those 5 people, put them on a parlay and you will win money. I guarantee it. Don't listen to me. Listen, I'll be there with you, all right? That's what I'll say. I'll be there with you. I think those 5 people are guaranteed to win their fights. That being said, though, those are my predictions. Let me know what you guys thought of my predictions and what your predictions are for this card in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to see more from the channel. Here's a playlist of some other UFC predictions and reactions. Here's a video that YouTube thinks you'll recommend, and you can subscribe to the channel right here. But that's going to do it for me, man. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.